Nikachu on Merfolk versus LunaLove on Assault Loam. I I don't know what to expect here. I assume that Loam or Assault is good against Merfolk if you can get it going fast enough, but can you get it going fast enough?
Yeah, I feel like this is the type of matchup that's going to be very play draw dependent, but also who gets their stickiness on the board first. Merfolk just has this critical mass of early creatures, but if they're picked off one at a time, things might not get going. And as we see in this hand, that force of negation is almost assuredly going to have to take down a red and six.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much has to at this point. It seems like both players have decent starting hands here. But yeah, so you can force the negation the Ren 6, and then I guess the Salt Loam isn't left with much of anything. There's a Urza Saga in a cycling land, but not any of the key combo pieces. No Loam, no Seismic Assault.
This is yeah, right here we have lightning bolt taking down the scout, which if not force a negation, then that Regavan is going to get connection.
Oh, do you think it's yeah? Okay, so Nikachu is just gonna let it go, take the hit from the monkey, and see what comes off the top. Probably a Merfolk, I would guess, or land. And it
It,
looks like a Tide Shaper.
which is quite interesting in the matchup, right? It's going to be a 2-2 if you want to deploy that. Like the decisions right now are get Ren and 6 down, get the Tide Shaper down. But yeah,
Wow,
Tide
there it
Shaper
is.
into the halfling into Urza Saga. This
That's a pretty good turn.
this is a lot of creatures. So this is 2024 zoo right here.
Yeah. It really is, yeah. Somehow the Assault Loam has all the creatures on the battlefield against the Merfolk deck. Merfolk, it looks like, is just going to deal with that Urza Saga with another Tide Shaper.
Yeah, this is fun. Without trying to plug something cool that I did previously, I actually worked on MH2, and Tide Shaper Urza Saga was an interaction that came up quite often. So it's really fun to see Nikachu playing with all of the new Merfolk and actually seeing that interaction.
Yeah, it is really cool. Urza Saga is a pretty interesting card. Like, it's so powerful, but there's some sneaky answers to it like this that we're seeing now. So here comes the Ren in 6. How good is the Ren on this board? It can snipe the Tide Shaper, but the Tide Shaper kind of did his job already, I guess.
So I mean it's definitely a great thing to get into play, especially because it's going to get value with getting back sagas later on. And Svelun will be able. Are we just gonna see
Assault,
building Merfolk? This is
Assault
Nikachu's
Loam is the
worst enemy.
Merfolk deck.
This is
Oh, that's so good. Oh, who's the Merfolk deck now,
well,
Nikachu?
it's also so sad because if Luna is able to find, let's say, the One Ring or a seismic assault, that force of negation will get countered now.
Yeah. Yeah, that is actually true. Wow. Okay, so here comes a Sevulin, but it's looking a little bit grim for the Merfolk. I guess Sevulin does hold down the fort a bit. Wow, that's a one ring off the top, though. Golly.
And to be fair, that halfling was going to keep it from getting countered. Oh, I guess force negation exiles, right?
It
Does it
does
counter? Yeah,
exile, but it still counters. So I
does it
think the
still
Lighted
counter?
Halfling
Okay.
would protect it, but yeah, this is a huge draw. We have seen a lot of rings tonight, I will say. Every match has been about the power of the ring, and here it comes.
I, modern's in a unique spot where if you can be a hyper focused deck that doesn't play the ring, and it is definitely in a lot of the competitive decks. But once you get down to the tier of decks that a lot of us chose to play for fun, the One Ring kind of props them up, right? Like it makes them look a lot better than they actually are.
Yeah, if you're gonna play bad cards, you need a lot of those cards to win the game, and that's where the
Exactly.
the One Ring comes in, yeah. Uh, well, so Merfolk here, you can run on a Lord, I guess, and then I don't even know where you go from there, like, can you attack with Sevulin to draw a card? It doesn't seem like a great attack.
Yeah, not without a mutavault to give it indestructible.
Yeah, and then you take a big crackback if all you have is a Lord on defense. So yeah, this is getting to the awkward point of the game here for the Merfolk. Well, there's
Yeah,
a Lord.
yeah. Luna has all engines revving, and the part of this game is if a seismic assault comes down. I mean, there's so many cards actually that Luna could draw that just close the game out. And
Seismic Assault can deal a lot of damage. I learned that in my first game of the night. Wow, can that card pour on some
it was
damage?
so close to killing you.
Yeah, it got me in game 1 from 24 in 1 turn, which blew
Hmm.
me. I could have played around that, and I just didn't realize that I needed to, but now I know. Well,
All
here
right.
comes the attack. The card drawn is, unfortunately for Nikachu, just another land off the top, which I'm pretty sure is not what he was hoping for.
Yeah, and now Lunas decide chump block, double block. Without playing an additional land, there isn't going to be a sneaky Merfolk coming down to pump the Svelun or give it indestructible. So maybe a second land, another land could have come down to make
To
this double block
Yeah.
less enticing.
Especially with a second Ragavan in Luna's hand, seems pretty easy to throw one away to get rid of Savulin, which is one of the strongest cards in the Merfolk deck once it gets going.
And
So we see the double block.
we'll see the trade. And yeah, I mean the Grove comes down, going to get sacked at end of turn. But all systems revving for Luna.
Yeah, the Waterlog Grove does not keep up with the active One Ring, that's for sure.
And now the Urza Saga is now online. Additional saga.
Ooh, wow. So you can Wow, there's actually a lot of damage here. Dashing Ragavan's a possibility. Could also get the Inti down along with a Saga. There's tons of options from Luna's side.
Yeah, there's unlimited options with these decks, especially once you have the sagas in play and the Ren and sixes. There's I honestly don't know what I would do. Odds are I would play the Inti, get that down. But I would definitely start deploying these Karnstrucks, these Urza Saga tokens, so that
Yeah, that's
you can get that board state and really go wide. 16 life is a lot to work with against a Merfolk deck that hasn't really built a critical mass yet.
Yeah. Yeah, then we can see a discard of a Beseju here to trigger Inti to get in some more damage and get yet another Ragavan in exile. But yeah, these constructs are going to get really big. They're already, what, 3/3s, and they should grow to 4/4s and 5/5s pretty quickly. And that's a pretty big creature against a single Lord of Atlantis.
Yeah, so
Oh.
we'll
Okay,
see.
so we have the Delighted Halfling, so we can still activate the Urza Saga, even with the Ragavan coming down.
And now an uncounterable Urza Saga token.
Yeah. Indeed. It can be tidebound though, if that came off the top. Just a hex catcher. Well, I mean, there's 3 Merfolk Lords now, but I'm not sure that that's actually enough against what's going on with the Urza Sagas in One Ring over there.
Especially next turn once they all start building each other up all the artifacts. So I this is the kind of thing that Merfolk has a difficult time coming back from. And truth be told, it would have taken an impressive draw from Nikachu to beat Luna start. That I can't think of
Yeah.
a stronger early game, having the lightning bolt, having the Regavan, having the addition, even the Mox Amber to power things out with the early saga.
Yeah,
And we
this
saw
is
turn 2 Stone Rain and still an overrun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This is actually a kind of a surprisingly aggressive draw. I think of Assault Loam as this like grindy late game deck, but this game's really showing that with the right draw, the deck can be pretty aggressive as well. I wanted to ask you, Brad, what do you think the odds are that Nikachu actually has like 2 or 3 legal Merfolk deck for this? Like, is that actually, could you build 2 Merfolk deck in Modern without overlapping by 28 cards?
I so first I have to ask, lands count as well, right?
I believe it's 28 cards, including lands. Yeah.
Okay, so I mean there's theoretically like going back to the Rishadan Port Merfolk for one drops, but you're stretching it, right? Like I don't know how you actually get there, but what's your core, right? The Lord Svelun.
And the only thing I could think is unless it's like some sort of weird, like deep root pilgrimage combo-y merfolk build, because all the lords are in this deck. So it seems hard to double up on the lords in multiple decks. So it would have to be a pretty different build if it was gonna work.
Oh, it definitely have to be a different build and probably a different splash. Like uh you're just probably gonna have to be mono colored or a unique splash. But honestly, I have no idea because the Merfolk is like already like 40 cards locked in.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not a ton of flex slots. You see the same Merfolk time and time again. So I'm actually excited to see if there is a second one just to see what it looks like. But back to the game. Is this a game-ending attack? I think Nikachu can chump block through this with the Hex Catcher, but it's not looking good with these. There's
Yeah,
another Karnstruck on the way as well.
yeah, there's just not a catch-up mechanic, so we're just going through the motions of trying to ambush with these 4/4s and hope something, you know, is set up here, but it's Merfolk is just not the kind of deck that can come back from a board state like this.
Yeah, it doesn't play as well from behind, that's for sure. Well, here comes another Karnstruck to pump, and that's gonna knock Nikachu down to 3, I believe, and this might be the last turn here. Is there any way that you can island walk in for lethal with a Tide Shaper? Oh, I
Yeah.
forgot about the Ren activation. This is going to clear the entire board. Oh boy, and that is the game. That might be the best Ren activation I've ever seen. You don't get those solid 3-for-1s with 3 lords with Ren very often.
Yeah, and Archel Ren and 6. That's a very powerful ability.
So what do we get from sideboards? We see a bunch of pick your poisons coming in over on the Merfolk side.
Yeah, and we'll see those harbingers being able to return red and green creatures is particularly strong. Or is that the one that taps them?
That's the one that returns a tap creature,
Yes.
I think, and you can flash it for 2 more. Over on the, Luna's side, ah, I'm not sure where we're heading here. So we see, like, a couple of small changes, but I didn't see any major changes from the sideboard. Thinking about maybe a Fable. What do you think about Fable in this matchup, Brad? Is it fast enough?
It doesn't seem like the kind of card that you're going to want in a matchup like this, but you also have to think about like not having enough cards for the matchup and wanting to make sure that your deck's improved. So
Ooh,
I can see.
interesting. We saw a couple Urza Sagas be sideboarded out, which I would not have considered. That's a really interesting sideboarding plan, I guess, to play around the Tide Shapers, but we're to 2 Urza Sagas in the sideboard now.
Yeah, it makes sense because you don't want to get blown out by Spreading Seas or Tide Shaper, as well as this is typically not the kind of matchup that I would assume that generating the value from Urza Sagas is how you're going to get the job done.
And I guess as long as you find one eventually, you just keep loaming that one anyway, so even if you only have 2, you can access them a bunch of times because of the deck. Wow, that's a lot of one rings over on Luna's side, but kind of a slow hand. I guess there is a loam, so there's more lands than it looks like. For Merfolk, wow, can you keep this, Brad? One land Ether
I
Vial? Wow, we can.
I mean, you have a pitch spell. You've got your Aether Vial. I mean, like you're playing a deck that is already trying to survive off Aether Vial. Are you going to mulligan a lot of those? Like, so I don't know how strong it actually is, but you have a removal spell, you have a counter spell, but you
And then you can still put your creatures into play with the Vial. I think you're still hoping for another Tidebinder. Actually, maybe more Tidebinders is good again. We're going to see this epic battle of One Rings versus Tidebinders at some point.
right, so we're going to see Regavan get dismembered, and most likely Luna will go down to 17 life to get that life from the loam started.
It looks like there's not much else to do from Luna's side. Ooh, okay. So Nikachu's going to go with a chump block potentially with the Tide
Sure.
Shaper and hold on to the Dismember. That makes sense.
All right, so Regavan and Tide Shaper trade.
Ooh, wow. So if Nikachu misses a land drop here, Luna can just fire off this Brother's End on artifacts and maybe, well, I guess there's the force. It would at least get 2 cards out of Nikachu's hand, but losing this Ether Vial would be a huge problem here.
And I don't think that I would have the restraint not to go for it.
You
Like,
got to go for it. You got to go for it.
maybe 10 years ago I would figure out the pros and cons of a play like that, but I've been jamming a whole lot more these last few years.
I mean, you dismembered a One Ring today, so
I did that twice.
twice in
First,
one
I think it was
match.
correct. The second was mostly
Oh,
for the memes.
wow. So the force of negation hits the loam, which makes sense. But this, oh god, this
Oh,
brother's at end. If this is fired off, it's game. It's game. It's one colorless land left over. Oh, does Luna do it?
I
You've seen 2 land drops missed. It has to be tempting at least, right? To be like, wow, the force of negation's gone. No lands being hit. Oh, we're gonna go with Ragavan, looks like. Dasher Ragavan. All right, all right.
This is I think the best case scenario for Nikachu. Um,
He's still playing Magic, so yeah, I guess that is the best case because I thought we might be scooping him up here if that Brothers to Den came down.
all right, so tap land, and now we're gonna see a Merfolk come down.
Yep. Lord of Atlantis hits the battlefield, and the vial can go up to 3 to get down these Tidebinders. So the creatures are like Nikachu is going to be able to empty his hand here. Pick your poison, not I mean a good card in the matchup, but not at the moment. Oh,
So
come on.
interesting. What? Oh no! It's so this game has
Do it.
gotten so
Do it.
awkward.
Do it. Okay, there. Oh, I mean, I'm sorry, Nikachu. I love the Merfolk too, but I do like seeing people not be able to play Magic on occasion. There's nothing like a good old wow.
Well, the
Here
tempo, the
comes
tempo, and the
Tidebinder.
timing. Now we're gonna see a Tidebinder. Now,
Yep.
if a land is off the top, that's already potentially lethal. So a land off the top is almost necessary for Luna to get the one rings into play.
Yeah, to start chaining. Oh, another pick your poison. That is. Oh, these draws have been so brutal for Nikachu over there. Well, if there's a land for a oh, okay. Land for the One Ring really changes things. With 3 of them in hand, there's going to be a lot of turns of protection in a row here if Luna wants it.
Luna might just need it.
Yeah, I mean, a land would be lethal without the One Ring, right? If you fire up the Mutavault, that is
Mhm.
actually a lethal attack. Yeah, how great do you get with activating the One Rings? I guess with 3 in hand, the first draw is gotta be worth it. Well, there's a land. A turn too late. Maybe 3 turns too late, but
3 or 4 maybe. Yeah, you definitely have to start using it to get a little bit of value out of this, or you're just gonna let your opponent back into the game. But yeah, I'm pretty sure you just have to draw 2 here and play another One Ring.
yeah, I guess with the land off the top, you can also get down to the lighted halfling, so you're getting something on the battlefield. But yeah, you can't risk not one ringing here. I don't think that would be. I mean, you're just done on board, I guess. So here comes the one ring.
It's interesting,
No,
not gonna
no
draw
drawn
first.
response. Okay. Yeah, I would have expected a draw there, but the protection, I guess, is also very important here.
I guess if that does get countered and you do draw, then you're dead on the crackback due to the life loss.
Okay. I actually okay, that makes some sense. I think I would have agreed drawn there anyway, but that does make sense.
Oh, I'm with you too. But going
N
back to the always jamming, yeah, you got to make your opponents have it.
Now these pick your poisons kind of do something at least, and it honestly, is Nikachu winning this game now? Like, after being stuck on 1 Mutavault for 6 turns, like, I kind of feel like Nikachu's in not a bad position now.
Yeah, it really came down to that turn of either playing Brotherhood End or Dashing Ragavan. The Brotherhood End would have stopped this force, and this would have been the first turn that a Tiebinder could have came down and Luna would have been a lot higher life total. I don't know if that's the correct decision, one way or the other, but I do believe that Nikachu has found a way to get back into this game and is ahead right now.
Yeah, I mean, there is another One Ring, so Luna's safe for the time being. And there is still a lot of cards to be seen, right? Like, I guess the Tidebinder, how do you play this Tidebinder with Pick Your Poison? I think that's what Nikachu's thinking about. Like, do I just pick your poison the One Ring? Do I wait for an activation and Tidebind it and get another body on the battlefield?
It's tough, right? Because you're assuming that Luna is going to try to draw a card, which then the Tiebinder can invalidate the ring completely and put a something on the board.
It looks like it might just be a Pick Your Poison. I guess the guaranteed line to get the One Ring off the battlefield. But now Luna does get to draw in response for free, essentially. This is
And
a
with
pretty big seismic assault. That means a loam would really change the complexion of this game.
at least for the turn, it would be able to take care of these 2 creatures before that next pick your poison.
There's a Wren.
That
It's like a third of a loam. Is that enough?
this game
Uh,
has gotten very difficult to navigate because that can come down with the seismic assault and pick off the Lord, but then you still have the 2 creatures coming in. We know that Pick Your Poison will be able to just take care of that Seismic Assault.
Yeah, and there's still the Tidebinder left over too. Yeah, this game got way more. It looked like it was going to be a blowout here for a minute when Nikachu was stuck on a Mutavault, but now it's becoming actually a very interesting game now.
So part of me likes playing the ring with protection and the Wrenn and 6 without, and just starting to stockpile the hand. Now
Just
that
build up
I
some
guess
lands for the future.
that then you lose the Wrenn and 6 next turn. No, that's not great. This is I don't know. This is complex.
Well, it looks like we might be going for a Ren. So Luna's going to play the Ren, and I imagine you're up picking here. Yep, gets back the Wooded Foothills, and now a uncounterable ring.
Yeah.
So I guess that is that line. The downside, like you said, is you do lose your Ren, but Luna doesn't know this, but probably the One Ring as well to the Pick Your Poison. I wonder. So open deck list here. Nikachu knows the deck list. Maybe this is where you save your Pick Your Poison for a Seismic Assault and try to deal with the wing or ring with Tidebinder in the future.
Oh, the Mox Amber didn't come down and play the Delighted Halfling. That would have protected the
Oh,
ring and
and the Ren. Oh, yeah.
theoretically, yeah, because the Mutavault still can come in and make sure that that gets cleaned up.
It would have at least taxed, yeah, 2 mana, worst case. So here comes the Pick Your Poison, which is gonna get rid of the One Ring, I assume. Yep. So that's 3 One Rings down. Somehow, Nikachu is really fighting through the rings here.
Yeah, Luna's highlighting the Mox Amber, realizing the mistake of if they played the Mox Amber, then the Run Ring would
I
have been protected.
I think I've maybe made the same mistake before. Mox Amber is legendary creature or planeswalker, right? I remember thinking it was just legendary creatures, and I was like, oh, it doesn't do anything. But yeah, triggering on planeswalkers as well would have made it make mana there. Ooh, Inti off the top, though.
Well, so what's the most interesting about this turn? I guess Inti can be cast, and the Mox Amber will allow the Seismic Assault
To come
to,
down.
but yeah, and it has to take care of that Lord because now there's Island to walk.
Yes. The yeah, so the Lord's gotta go. And we're gonna see that right now. So Lord of Atlantis down. Hmm. Although this okay, so the Inti can come down off the Delighted Halfling. So I guess can just empty the hand here. Although even play the Mox Amber at this point since it's not doing anything.
No, I would leave it as a surprise element now. But yeah, other sequencing could have allowed for the other Delighted Halfling to be untapped. And
Yeah.
but there's Master, which will be lethal. That's
Yep.
that's
There's
Master off
still an
the top.
island. Yeah, there's still an island, and I honestly cannot believe that Nikachu got back in this game. It was looking very grim, and that was a very impressive comeback. That keep, I don't think I would have kept the one colorless land ether vial hand, but it ended up paying off in the end. Nikachu really knows the Merfolk deck, so I'm sure his keep was way better than mine would have been. And yeah, that is the game. On to game number 3.
I think we need to come back to this. So, I've followed your content for a very long time. You don't think that you're keeping that Aether Vial one lander?
Well, first, I mean, I guess I am kind of known for keeping one land hands, but it's a colorless land. That's the difference. I think that's what would have got me is the fact that I couldn't make any colored mana. So as much as I love one landers, okay, who am I kidding? Yeah, I probably would have kept
Yeah, you would have kept it for the memes. I know.
it. I couldn't resist because if you win with that hand, so I play a lot of Magic, right? You win and lose a
Yeah.
lot of games. That would be a pretty memorable win. Worst case, I never draw land number 2, and whatever. It's just another one land hand I shouldn't have kept, and I never learned from. So
And it's over in like 5 minutes, and you get to go to the
yeah,
next one.
on to the next one. So you think there's any changes here, Brad, play draw sideboard wise, or are we just kind of running them back?
I, I the one spreading season of the sideboard is something that would tempt me. Now, I don't really know Merfolk that well anymore, but I do know that I'm a sucker for Silver Grail Adept and spreading season, everything from 2010. So I
I
probably would have brought that in on the play, but I can understand not wanting it.
I really wonder if some of those wow, it's a lot of picture
Yes,
poisons.
I think you're gonna pick your mulligan.
Yeah, so we might I legitimately would not keep this hand. Um, yeah, so that hand's gotta go back. On the other side, Luna's hand actually looks pretty good. This Mox Amber is a pretty hit or miss card sometimes, and it's, like, pretty good this game, and it might pay off again here.
The scary thing about that hand though is if the stomping ground gets turned into an island, none of the cards are able to be cast. I guess the Enti would be able to be cast on turn 2.
And that would yeah. So I guess you get down the NT, and that would make Mox Amber make red mana? I mean, we're gonna keep it.
Oh
There
yeah,
is no
on the play, it's all gonna happen. Yeah.
so the 6 from Merfolk looks reasonable. We got an Ether Vial. Ooh, the Harbinger is in there. Sevulin and a Tide Shaper.
Oh,
Ugh.
is
Second
that
Mox
just the
Amber.
worst draw that you could have had?
Yeah, I'm pretty let me check the deck list. Yeah, there's only 2 in the deck. So yeah, that is literally the worst draw at the moment.
Yeah,
uh,
a fetch line
yeah.
would have been great to be able to get that Ren and 6 down, but
Yeah. So now we're just kind of playing the Inti and don't even get an attack this turn. Yeah, that didn't work out as well as it could have. Going a Lord off the top. So Merfolk's going to be able to start putting some pressure on here.
so do you think we're gonna see Harbinger on turn 2 to slow
Yeah.
down the stumble from Luna?
It's tempting. With the miss land drop, it's pretty tempting. And it looks like, yeah, Nikachu's just going to go for it. I mean, that's kind of a stone rain almost. So yeah, you got to go for it.
Yeah, especially with Svaelun in hand, and you just want to make sure that your opponent is stymied a little bit before, because that's what more folks trying to do is just slow them down, tempo them out, and not having that second land drop was detrimental.
So Luna did find a stomping grounds. I think Luna really would love a fetch land. A fetch land kind of takes care of all the land problems with that Ren over there. Stomping grounds better than nothing.
Well, what's interesting is you can discard the stomping grounds.
Ooh, wait, no.
So there's multiple things
Mm,
that could happen this turn. The you could cast the second Mox Amber to get the Seismic Assault into play, then discard the stomping grounds. The next turn, um, get it back with Ren and 6. But so uh we're probably gonna see that Ragavan hit
hmm.
play.
Yeah, we could have done that. We could have discarded stomping grounds and just Ren and six it back if we wanted to, right? Off the Mox Amber mana.
Yes. Or we could get the Seismic Assault into play.
Yep. Ooh, that might be where we're going. Are we gonna just see? Are we discarding the stomping grounds right now as removal? Maybe that's the direction Luna's going. Is just leaving a shock up. Yeah?
Yeah. And then maybe
Yeah?
if this hits a land, it
Land? What
did!
if oh, it's a
It
fetch land
did!
too, the perfect land. Oh my god! Wow.
And now
Oh, that
the
worked out amazingly for Luna there.
now Delighted Halfling can come down and then Ren and 6 will be able to generate.
Oh.
Oh, it gets to
Oh,
cast
the
the
Ragavan,
Ragavan.
yeah, the
Yeah.
Ragavan from Exile. Inti has really impressed me in this deck, like, with the synergy with Seismic Assault, like, you're discarding so many cards. Inti is actually a pretty powerful two-mana engine.
Yeah, that was a sleeper for me when the set was revealed. I thought it was good, but I didn't think about it in all of these different decks that have so many discard outlets. And it's seen a lot of play in Pioneer and in modern decks and even standard. I played some of the 4-color Legends combo deck, and I was like, this is such a cool card.
Oh, that deck's actually super fun to play. I love playing that deck. With all the channel lands and Slogurk like that. Oh, a very fun deck.
It was a
Standard's
lot of
actually
fun to
pretty
play.
fun right now.
It was fun to play 2 matches on Arena and then realize that it's way too smart for me and I don't have time for figuring it all out. And then I
Yeah, you
switched
do.
over to Blue Eye Control.
Oh, yeah, that it is a very complicated deck to play well for sure. So what do we do from Nikachu's side here? We have a Vial on 2. We have 2 3-drops. So I guess you just the question, I guess, is Sevulin, or do you try to Tidebind or something? And it looks like we're just gonna pass and leave up the Tidebinder.
Yeah, there's an additional land as well. So it's tough because you kind of need the Tidebinder to engage with that Seismic Assault.
Yeah, and it's so funny. Tashana's Tidebinder If you stifle an artifact creature or planeswalker, it loses its abilities. Did not include enchantments, so it's kind of a one-shot answer to Seismic Assault. You can't really shut it off permanently with Tidebinder.
I did not realize that. That's not great. I wonder why that's the case.
Yeah, I know it is weird that enchantments are excluded from that. That's gotten me before. So here comes a Ren. Yeah, I mean, so do we need to pick your poison? What answers does Nikachu have to get this Seismic Assault off the battlefield? Because it's going to become very hard to play any Merfolk because they mostly have 2 toughness.
It's gonna be pick your poison. So the tide. Uh, this is gonna be
Oh, they're
able
going to shut
to.
down the Ren. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, but that the Boseiju will be able to kill that.
Snipe the.
Well, maybe not because it depending on timing that Lord is going to be able to protect it. This.
Oh, right. So,
Oh
this
no.
is the blowout because here comes the Master.
It's okay. There's a lightning bolt on top.
All right. Oh, yeah, and even a Mox Amber. So yeah, this is
Wait, I
still.
just said that. I didn't even see if that came up first. I was just joking.
You were actually correct. It just went to exile. So yeah, this is actually going to work out perfectly for Luna here, I think. And now Nikachu sees a bolt and can't even. You don't even violin the Lord, do you? Because then you just lose both your creatures.
Yeah, you just have to wait for next turn.
You got to let the bolt go away. Yeah.
You have to let the Regavan hit you.
Yeah, you're gonna take a Ragavan. Oh boy. And then the bolt's gonna go face, and Nikachu's gonna be down relatively low on life here.
What's interesting is, do you actually cast the lightning bolt? In a lot of these situations, I never know what the correct answer is because that lightning bolt is stopping that vial from activating.
Ooh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Oh no! You get to force the action with that pick your poison.
Oh, oh, that is the wow. There's green mana off the treasure. Yeah, violet if you want to, but there's a bolt in exile. Ragavan beats like that are the most brutal. Like Ragavan's really strong anyway, but when it hits, like you're like, okay, I really need to pick your poison to deal with the Seismic Assault, and then your opponent gets it with Ragavan, and it gets your Ether Vial. It's so brutal.
I hate it when pick your poison gets my Aether Vial.
Uh, all right. I
This
don't. So do you vial here? You can't, right? But
No,
then
because
if
you're
you
just going to get eaten by the lightning bolt. But if you don't, then you're going to get lightning bolt to this. I mean, this match has been so swingy. I think actually all the games that have been played tonight have been awesome.
we have had some really, yeah, back and forth, like close games, some awesome plays. It has been really, really good. Although it's looking grim for Nikachu here. I'm having a hard time seeing how you get out from under this, honestly.
Everything just costs too much mana to catch back up, and now that there's a seismic assault and the Ren, as well as the NT, it seems very difficult. Maybe if there's a double spell turn, but this isn't even the possibility because of having 2/3 drops. So I think the writing's on the wall. I don't know how Nikachu gets out of this. I think the fish are fried.
It does seem like the fish might be fried, but we might see them again next time. I really think we're gonna see another build. Some of the weird numbers, like only 1 spreading seas or no silver gilded depths. The more we've talked about Merfolk, the more I'm like, okay, maybe you actually could build 2 legal decks that feature Merfolk. But yeah, we're gonna see this Tidebinder come down. Unfortunately for Nikachu, another land was drawn, so it's just going to get sniped anyway. It does stop 1 Ren activation, but we see the land discarded, Tidebinder down. At some
There's a
point, do you just discard this delighted halfling?
I think you could. Yeah, there it comes. Yeah.
Yep. So this is an attack for 6. And then did you say Urza Saga went to exile?
Urza Saga went to exile and
Ooh.
a Forgotten Cave. So I'm guessing Urza Saga will hit play. This drops Nikachu to 2, and
Oh, another one. Oh god, that Ragavan stealing all the pick. Oh no. Oh, that just hurts. You know it's random, but it still hurts.
all right. So
uh,
what could Nikachu draw this turn? Yeah, you just can play double Lord and hope that's good enough to
yeah,
survive the turn.
but I mean, there's Ren to just loan back a
Oh yeah,
land,
you're at
so even
2.
that doesn't
Yeah.
really work.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but what else can you do? Run out the Merfolk, get the lords on the battlefield, and
Yeah,
oh,
just
and the bolt too. We're dead
just
in every
oh,
way.
Luna, come on. Don't steal at all these.
Wow. Well, that was a really entertaining matchup. We got to see Merfolk pop off. We got to see the Loam deck look really good. That was fun. We've had some really fun Magic tonight, Brad.